Hello, solo leveling fans. Today I want to give you 5 tips before you start with solo leveling Arise. These will help you progress quickly at the beginning without complicating your late game, because there's hardly anything more tragic than seeing a good account set back weeks, just because it took a wrong turn at some points. Now, on to the first and most important tip, which should be familiar to most, but for complete newbies, it's crucial for the start. I'm talking about re-rolling your account. There's no better way to get good heroes than resetting your account as often as needed until you get one. This strategy works best on mobile because you can create a guest account, allowing you to reset and restart your account anytime. It's important to note that once you have played through the tutorial once, you never have to do it again, and every new account starts right after the tutorial. I have a video on my channel where everything is explained in more detail. If you re-roll, make sure to get Cha-Hei in, who is currently featured in the Rate Up banner. She will carry you through the game. I would never start an account without her, especially if you plan to stay free to play. Tip number 2. Save resources. It may be tempting to level up your new heroes to see what they can do, but wait until you are absolutely sure you will use them. Cha-Hei, for example, is such a hero. Only then use your resources. The further you get into the game, the rarer your resources will become, and you'll want to have a precise plan for when you draw, when you level up, what you enhance, and what you buy from the store. Here's how I do it. Progress in the chapter until you can't go any further. If you can't continue because you're not at the required level yet, do the side quests and the gates to level up, and only if you can't proceed due to lack of combat power, consider using resources. The game hinges on the chapters, which leads us to tip number 3. Always prioritize your chapter first. It unlocks all the important tools you need and upgrades more than anything else, so always try to get as far as possible in the chapter. If a certain level is required, look for all possible ways to gain experience quickly to reach that level. Tip number 4. The gates. Gates can seem very complicated at first, but in principle it's quite simple. Every 5 minutes you can re-roll the gates. With increasing level you get better gates, and every day you can defeat any gate you choose 5 times for free, no matter how strong it is. Now, with this information, you need to decide which gates you need. A basic rule here is that your first priority is to do all the gates you can in a day. The second priority is to pick out the strong gates and clear them. The third is to deal with the resources they provide, and then decide which ones you need. But for starters, just make sure you do them, and clear the strongest gates you can find with the 5 free gate clears. Sometimes you might have to re-roll several times until you find something good. A more detailed video about gates and which ones benefit you the most will follow, but for now, that's the most important thing. Tip number 5 concerns the artifacts and the stats for your main character. Briefly on the stats, it's very simple. You want to put everything on strength, just pump it up, and then occasionally some on perception. If you want to know how much to put on perception, look at your detailed character stats in the menu, and under the item perception, you'll see a percentage number, which should always be around 85%. It's worth checking this number from time to time. If it's in the range of 85%, you can continue focusing on strength. That's all there is to say about the stats of the main character. Artifacts are a bit trickier, but also quite simple. At the beginning, you don't want to put too many resources into them until you've dealt with which heroes you use and which artifacts you play on them. However, the most important thing is that you don't level the artifacts beyond level 5, because after that it costs gold to switch them. There will be a separate guide for artifacts, but for now, have fun playing, and remember to only use your resources when you need them to progress in the chapter. Then you can calmly decide who you use them for. And now have fun in solo leveling Arise.